From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something that you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
And broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. We're going to talk a little bit about the press conferences yesterday on campus at Ole Miss. Matt Luke, Wesley McGriff, Phil Longo with their weekly media availabilities. Also, some content working on at rebelgrove.com. Going to go through some stuff. We're going to talk about what you want us to talk about, what you're talking about this week, as both of our phones and emails and everything else are evidence of kind of where the pulse of the fan base is right now. Just 3 weeks into the season. Ole Miss Kent State, 11 a.m. on Saturday. The Golden Flashes, right? Is that correct?
Yes. Sean Lewis and the Golden Flashes.
There you go. Look at you. You tried to get onto his media availability yesterday, and they wouldn't let you on.
They would not let me on. You were my witness when people go, you guys don't work. I did try to get on the MAC conference call. The operator told me that I had to have a conference ID.
The MAC did not supply that conference ID to us.
I said, I don't have it. Can you just put me on listen only? And she would not. I informed the people at the MAC very nicely that this is what happened.
Did you get a reply?
They have sent me the audio link if I want to go back and listen to it. And I might or might not.
It's not the worst public relations in the world.
I have invited one Sean Lewis onto this here podcast.
You have?
At this point, he has not either accepted
that has gone unreturned
or rejected. He has just not answered the request to come on the podcast. Hopefully he will do it. We would love to have him. That's the best we can do as it pertains to Sean Lewis
and the Kent State Golden Flashes.
The Kent State Golden Flashes.
63-10 losers to Penn State last weekend. I think their one win is over Howard at this point. Wasn't Howard where Cam Newton's brother was the quarterback and they beat somebody last year? Wasn't that right?
That feels right.
Does that feel right? Okay, maybe.
Is Howard is that Bill Cosby's alma mater?
Is it?
I don't know.
Why do you think that's the case?
For some reason. Oh, no, Bill Cosby went to Temple.
Okay.
Temple.
When I search Bill Cosby alma mater, UMass Amherst pops up.
Ah. Why am I thinking Temple?
Actually, it does say Temple on his Wikipedia page.
Okay.
Yeah. Temple and Amherst. Both. Temple in 71, Amherst in 73 and 76. So there's a master's and a doctorate and a bachelor's.
He's in jail now, right?
Surely, right? I'll be honest, I kind of just got away from that one. I didn't.
My dad yesterday, my dad who's great, you know my dad really well. He said, what do you think about this Kavanaugh thing? And I said, what's going on? And I could hear the disappointment in his voice. And I don't blame him.
He's like questioning how he raised you at that point.
Well, he's like, what has happened to my son? Because in the past, I would have really been dialed into this Kavanaugh thing. And he goes, what do you think is going to happen? I'm like, what's going on? And you can tell he's like, am I really going to have to catch you up on the major story in the country? It's kind of like, yeah. You are, because I don't know what's going on.
I'm better than you in that regard. But I will tell you first before we do that, Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West, get your tailgating this weekend. For those that are coming to town for the third home game in a row, Oxford Exxon, great place for that catering. 3 slabs of ribs, $33. You can get 1 or 2 pounds of pork with quart-size sides as well. Great for sandwiches, great for just watching your carb intake, putting some on a plate with some sauce and chowing down. So either way, a lot of options there for catering from the Oxford Exxon Speed Pass Plus. Pay at the pump, save money, efficient, easy, and you don't have to worry about identity theft along the way either. So that's the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West, bottomless refills, 49 cents. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900 is the number. Call the number, ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford you're looking for. Maybe it's a new Ford. Maybe it's a previously owned Ford. Maybe you're shopping for something specifically. Maybe you're shopping generally. Ask for a quote or two. You'll get them within 15 minutes in business hours. And the quotes won't be the first step in a haggle. It'll be right to the bottom line. It's really the efficient way to buy a car. It's the efficient way to sell a car. You get your quote, and then it's kind of up to you. You can start shopping. You can change what you're looking for, or you can go ahead and say, that's perfect. That's what I'm looking for. And that's when the people at Clark Ford really take off. You get great service after the sale. You get delivery options. Corey wants to be your car guy. He wants to be your truck guy. He'll take care of you. You can take my word for it, because I'm driving a Ford from Clark Ford. Love it. Love the service even more. So 662-257-1900. And at the end of your deal, tell Corey that you heard about Clark Ford on the podcast. You can mention any of our family of podcasts, and you'll save $500 off the bottom line from Clark Ford in Amory.
So from USA Today, I'm seeing that Cosby's sentencing hearing is September 24th and 25th.
Okay.
So a week away from sentencing, unless that's been moved backwards, obviously. Typically, sentencing happens when sentencing's supposed to happen, though.
Yeah.
Not as much red tape with that. It typically gets done.
He's old. I mean, it's
crazy.
It is.
Probably a crazier story than even we kind of give it credit for being. I think we're so desensitized today just from a climate that I think when you really stop and think, you go, wow.
That he could have that many victims and no one.
That should be an OJ level in your head, and it's not.
Yeah.
81 years old. Bill
He
Cosby.
did sell a lot of pudding pops.
He sold a lot of pudding pops.
Did you like those pudding pops when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my
yeah.
God, I love
All
them.
in.
My mom kept those things in the freezer. We had the chocolate ones, the chocolate vanilla, the chocolate caramel.
Ooh.
And then you always knew, like, she would get those assortment boxes and just the vanilla pudding pops. Those would be there at the end, and you'd have to kind of convince yourself, all right, it's going to be okay.
Wasn't a fan of just the vanilla?
No, I always liked the other stuff better.
Okay.
You'd get mad when you'd look up and there's 4 pudding pops left, and they're all the vanilla ones.
It's like what are those little things called? Well, the popsicle in the little tube where you push it up. Like, so I bet you were, if it was only banana left, you were screwed.
Oh, yeah, I just wouldn't
You were done when it was only banana left?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we had all that stuff. But we went through our share of Jell-O pudding pops.
No, what I was going to say is I've gotten where the past couple of weeks I've gotten the majority of my news from at the end of a lot of podcasts before when they go off, they do the AP News Minute, and you get just a quick 60 seconds, whatever happened that day from whatever the woman's name is. I feel like I should know it because I hear it every day in my head. But Rita Foley from AP News Minute. Yeah. So you get that and whatever. So I get 60 minutes of, well, Kavanaugh did this, and what about this? But that's about it.
I actually watched some of 60 Minutes the other day, and then my college girlfriend's on it, and I was like, this is creepy. And so
That's right. Yeah.
I went ahead and flipped.
That made you flip?
Well,
Why?
I was watching the segment about the chemical company that it was the blood testing company that was a big scam.
Yeah. You feel like it's creepy to watch an ex-girlfriend just because they're on a channel?
No, not creepy. I just was like,
I mean, it's not voyeurism. You're watching cable news.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was watching CBS News. I know, yeah. No, and then she was doing a story about a guy that came back from the war, and he had CTE because of blast.
Okay.
He was in war zones and blast, and they're discovering this is a major problem with veterans.
Huh.
That CTE is not just for football players anymore.
Yeah.
It's also for people who are...
That's what I'm curious about, frankly, not to get completely off topic, but whatever topic we're on.
Because so far we're doing nothing that we actually did some pre-show, and
we'll get there in a minute. We're on here for over an hour.
Yeah. It's September the 18th. We got to do this for 2.5 more months.
But no, I do want some baseline. Show me what percentage of CTE is in lawyers, doctors, construction workers, soldiers, everything. Because while I agree football's hazardous from that standpoint, nobody's arguing that it's not at all, whatever. What is the difference? What is the ratio? Give me some baselines, and we have not done that.
And I think they're working on it.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, no doubt. But, we've done so many sweeping judgments without any baseline data on just the average John Doe walking around America right now. So,
well, I wonder, with catchers, umpires.
Yeah.
is there CTE with them?
Yeah.
And then, are there degrees of CTE? And I think
if
I'm judging by Sharon's story on 60 Minutes Sunday,
that was an expert humble brag. Just tell everybody your ex-girlfriend is on CBS. Though, by the way,
she's a star.
That was an expert humble brag right there.
We're not dating.
I'm aware of that.
I mean, my God. No, I always knew she was going to be a star. She's great. That's what she wanted to do. I mean, she's phenomenal at it. But her story was
1987 Neil gold digging like a son of a gun back in the day. Going, hey, this thing.
Oh yeah, that's right. There are definitely degrees of it.
Of course.
Because they take the brain and they basically, the brains that have been donated, they take the brain and this is the very rudimentary description of this. You know how they do the meat slicer at like Kroger or wherever?
Yeah.
Super, super thin? Well, they do it microscopically thin, literally, so that they can put it under the microscope and they can see degrees of CTE.
Right.
And these people that have been off in war zones where there's lots of the concussive bombs going off around them, the CTE is pretty severe. And it impacts you psychologically, physiologically, emotionally in ways that really aren't recoverable. And I think it's one of the reasons that people are so scared of some of the football stuff, the soccer stuff, in hockey stuff where there's a lot of contact. It's at least to this point, there's nothing you can do to repair it. I know there is some work being done, I think, with stem cells and such to reverse some of the damages of CTE.
Mm-hmm.
So, years from now, it'll be fascinating to see whether there's something you can do to negate some of the negative effects of contact, whether it's in football or hockey or war or anything else.
We're going to get to the press conference in 2 seconds. I do have an observation, and I'm going to ask you this because you're probably over there more than I am. I avoid Jackson Avenue for the most part. I don't really deal with anything over there. It might as well be another country. But here in the last week or so, for whatever reason, a couple of different things, I've been over there at the red light, getting out back on Highway 6 from Jackson Avenue.
Okay.
Got me?
Yep.
All right. I like what they've done from the new little deal, the little traffic situation over there. It flows better than it used to.
Yeah.
Here's my issue, though. And I've noticed this over and over and over and over again. I don't understand why. Why, for people that are on Jackson Avenue and then going to turn left onto Highway 6 back toward Coliseum, Old Taylor, whatever,
okay,
why does everyone always go in the left lane and no one goes in the right turn lane? So they, you stay on the right side and you go through, and then it's always just wide open. There'll be 25 cars backed up in the left turn lane to turn left, but no cars ever in the right turn lane to turn left right there. None, ever.
How the hell we get here?
It was bugging me last night.
We went from Kavanaugh to Bill Cosby to my college girlfriend to this.
I'm just bothered. Do you have an explanation? Do you use the right turn lane to turn left there, or
I use whichever lane is going to let me get on 6 fastest?
Well, it's always the right one, but no one takes the right one.
Well, then I'll take the right one.
I think people are so conditioned to, if I'm turning left, I've got to be in the left lane. So when they get up there, it's too late and they're trapped and they can't get over to the other turn lane to go left.
Maybe this is where I'm different because I've lived in a couple of moderately sized cities, and so I'm used to more than one turn lane.
Yeah,
what drives me crazy about Oxford, and I mean, it's the only thing that I want to scream, is the 4-way stops when everyone just sits and looks at each other.
No, the guy on the roundabout that just comes to the complete stop in the middle of the roundabout is
the worst.
What would you have done here? I promise we're moving on. So you hate this too because you have to deal with it from the other direction. That's actually probably worse than my direction. Getting off 7 onto University, where you have to cross traffic both directions right there.
Yes.
Either if you're coming from my side of town going back toward Obie's, or your side of the town going back toward Kroger.
Yes.
I was getting off the other day on Friday afternoon. It's already Friday afternoon. Hey, football weekend, Alabama. There's people. I don't know what I'm doing out anyway. I'm kind of an idiot at this point.
Yeah, it wasn't smart.
And so this is like 5:15 right there.
That's what's dumb.
Trying to turn left to go back down University Avenue, coming from south of town.
Okay.
And the pickup truck in front of me, the vehicle, I don't know why I said pickup truck, the pickup truck in front of me, He refuses to go get in the middle to turn left right there. He just stops. He's literally waiting on both sides of traffic to be clear, which is not going to ever happen.
Nope.
That is impossible. So there's no one coming down the right side, and I'm just screaming.
You gotta honk your horn.
I'm doing everything, and he's looking back at me going, traffic, and I'm going, oh my God, no, there's no traffic.
No, it's where
He's got like a Yallabusha County tag, and I'm going, oh my God.
where you can stereotype.
What do you do? I mean, I was really close to getting out of the car and going, dude, you get in the middle, and then we go. This is Oxford logic. This is easy here.
Well, Oxford's got to fix that spot because you have these old.
We've been saying that for 20 years.
Well, they won't do it, and I don't know why. But
that's a whole MDOT situation. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah, there's got to put a light or something there that forces people to go because they won't get into the middle. I've been the guy that just pulls out. I get into the middle, and I'm like, if you T-bone me, you dumbass, we're probably going to have a debate about who's at fault, but you in the end will be the one that decided to just ram right into me.
We sat there for, I don't want to be hyperbolic, we sat there for 3 or 4 minutes.
I've sat in that spot for 15 minutes before.
Because they will not go.
The old man in front of me would not go.
Just sits and waits.
Terrified.
And waits. And waits.
Terrified. And it's always Yallabusha or Pontotoc or something, and you realize they're in the big city and they're scared. They're like we would feel if we were in, like, drop me in Manhattan at rush hour. I'd be like, whoa, a little intimidated here.
Yeah.
They're in Oxford, and it's whoa.
Getting the Friday afternoon grocery run done.
In all seriousness, Oxford traffic is a weird deal because you have college kids that are on their cell phones, and then you have old people that are going 30 under the speed limit waiting for an invitation to turn, and it is a toxic mix. I don't know how OPD does it. I cannot imagine, like, on a Friday, like yesterday, this past Friday, I can only imagine that they show up for work. What do they call police roll call in the morning? Yeah. You know, they have like their meetings or whatever. You know that meeting is like, all right, everybody, this day is going to suck.
Well, you know, Ole Miss LSU's at 8:15 on Saturday night next week. As soon as the time's announced, OPD on Twitter responding back to one of us and goes, thank goodness it's a road game. It's like, yes, that would be really, really miserable. I understand.
We were sitting in the team room, and the rumor was 8:15, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock was the rumor. And Ross Bjork had just walked in, and I looked over and I said, hey, you guys gotten a time on LSU yet? And I guess he knows me.
Neil has like puppy dog eyes at this point, like begging with his eyes that it's
tell me something different. He goes, yeah, it's 8:15, and I just sweat.
He did say there would be no TV pushback from the 5 o'clock game.
He was confident about that, so yeah. There's a blessing.
Woo.
Yeah. Because the game in front of it's at 5. It's Mississippi State, Florida. So if it goes, so I'll just tell you now, if that game goes 3.5 hours,
it's going to start on ESPN News.
It's going to start on a different channel.
Just get ready for it.
Go find it.
It's ESPN News. It'll start on ESPN News.
Yeah.
There's 1,000 ESPN channels. They'll put it somewhere. You're paying for all of them, by the way. It's not free.
None of them are free.
It's a good schedule next week, though. I mean, as much as we're making fun of it and it being irritable from a media standpoint, they did the correct schedule. You got all the crap games at 11. You've got Georgia-Tennessee, which is also a crap game, but for some reason CBS loves it, at 2:30. And then you have...
What is the obsession?
I don't know. They're obsessed with Georgia-Tennessee. And then you've got State Florida at 5.
I would have put Florida, Mississippi State at 2:30.
They've got South Carolina, Missouri at 6:30, and then Ole Miss and OSU at 8. 15.
So you're talking about a game ending at 11:45. From a media standpoint, we're not getting content until 12:30. I'm going. I just question how many people are actually reading anything at 1:30 in the morning.
I'm going. That's funny.
So 8:15.
8:15.
I think ULM's either going to be 11 or 3 based on the schedule that I've looked at. If you made me guess, I'd guess the Little Rock game is going to be an 11 o'clock game. And then I'd guess Auburn is at night. I was looking ahead at schedules.
Uh-huh.
Those are my guesses based on other games and comparisons. Ole Miss ULM has 11 o'clock written all over it because of the other games that day.
I promise we're going to get into what we actually want to talk about in a second. Just had a really long intro today, but it's good. You've learned about a lot of things, including traffic patterns in Oxford and many other topics. So we'll give you a little bit of a calendar of events for Oxford as well. We'd like to welcome Visit Oxford as a podcast partner with us September 21st with the game on this weekend. Don't forget the double-decker bus tours. Those are really, really popular around town. Those going on at 2 p.m. on the Fridays before Ole Miss home football games. Also on the 21st, the Clear Creek Music and Arts Festival. And then next week on September 25th, the Oxford Art Crawl. So a lot going on in town as always. The Wizard of Oz coming to the Ford Center on October 21st. If you'd like to plan ahead a little bit. And much more. So remember to, when you come to Oxford, more going on than just football. You can find out more at visitoxfordms.com or visitoxfordms.com/events.
The Ole Miss soccer team returns to the pitch on Thursday night as they take on the Tennessee Vols at 6 p.m. Admission is free, so bring the family out, enjoy some SEC soccer. The Ole Miss football team returns to the Vault on Saturday, September the 22nd, as they take on Kent State at 11 a.m. Tickets still remain and can be purchased by visiting OleMissTix.com. That's OleMissTix.com. Also, mark your calendars for the inaugural Hole-in-One at the Vault on Sunday, September the 23rd from 2 to 4 p.m. As part of the Ole Miss Year of the Fan, children in grades 8th or below, Ole Miss students, and adults over the age of 22 will have an opportunity to hit shots at various targets on Hollingsworth Field for a chance to earn prizes. To sign up, visit omyearofthefan.com. Podcast also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, look no further than Grenada Nissan. They have a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles. Go in, test drive one today. Tell them that you heard about it here on the podcast, and you'll get Rebel savings on top of the already great deals at Grenada Nissan. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. And we're brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is an Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He's been in Oxford more than 4 decades. No one knows the residential and condo market in Oxford better than Harry. Go to his site. He'll prove it to you. It's harryalexander.com. Guests will join us this week. We promise. We're trying on the Billy's Pecans hotline. It's billyspecans.com, BILLIES pecans.com. Go there. The product's fantastic. You got to try it. Whether you're into sweet or savory, the cheese Krispies, coffee cake, sauces, whatever you want, generally as it pertains to pecans, the pecan brittle, pecan toffee, whatever you want, they've got it, and it's all fantastic. It's packaged beautifully, shipped fresh and direct to you. It makes for a great corporate gift, a great thank you gift, a hostess gift, that kind of thing. It's very nice, and Stacy and Bailey and the people there at Billy's do a great job. Give it a shot. Billy'sPecans.com.
Get ready for Rice baseball to become much better all of a sudden. This morning, Rice University announced free tuition for families making $65,000 to $130,000, and families making $130,000 to $200,000 can now get half tuition free. Get ready for baseball to blow up.
At Rice University?
Yes.
Wow.
At Rice. In Houston.
They just became a national power.
Rice is again a national power as of this morning. They had really fallen off under the last few years of Wayne Graham. It's coming back now. I think Matt Bragg is the coach there now.
So families that make 65 to 130 total, which is...
I'm sure there's some education requirements, but they appear to not be crazy at all. It appears to be very manageable. Yeah. 65 to 130, free tuition. 130 to 200, half off. People wondering why Vanderbilt has such an advantage program very similar to that. Anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, just saw that and was kind of thrown off. So anyway, it's kind of crazy. So yesterday, for a press conference that had very little news value, Montreal Custis out for the year, as we knew. Nothing nuts here. Vernon Dasher, Cam Ordway filling in for the most part. They love for Miles Hartsfield to play some of that position, but they're already so thin in other spots. They really can't risk him moving around right now to do that star spot. But it was a press conference with even more platitudes, without a lot of true answers, a lot of what we've kind of gotten throughout the 3 weeks. So, Neil, Was it really about yesterday, or is it continue to just be the cumulative effect of no directness when it comes to what is going on with this team right now?
I think the frustration is over platitudes. I think the frustration is over catchphrases that are being used. I don't really know how this works. I don't know how they go about preparing for these press conferences, or if they prepare. If there's a meeting to say, hey, here's what we need to talk about. Here's what the fans want to hear about. Matt's in a tough spot for a number of reasons, Chase. Number one, he's a new coach, but he doesn't have the benefit of a new coach. He was the coach last year. Some people view last year as his first year. Some of us don't. I think if you were inside the program, you understand last year was not his first year. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's very fair.
If you're a fan and you just came up, you don't understand that, and I understand not understanding it. A new coach, had they done what I think people like me would have advised, and this isn't a knock on Matt. I'm happy Matt got the job. I'm happy for Matt. I hope he does well. I'm on the record saying that. He's been nothing but great to us. He's a genuinely good person. I hope it works out. A new coach, had they hired, say, Dave Doran, would be able to say out loud, hey, guys, I wasn't here. I don't know what happened. I don't have the time to figure out what happened. We inherited this. We're doing the best we can with it. The kids are working hard. We're demanding a lot of them. We've got to go and fix this in recruiting. We've got to recruit differently. We've got to bring in different players. We've got to we're doing some things culturally. We're changing some things. Some of the stuff that you're seeing at Florida with Dan Mullen. Dan Mullen loses to Kentucky and very quickly says, hey, I've been telling the guys that we got to work differently. And maybe it's going to take a couple of these to get people to convince it, to learn it. And fans go, okay, all right, first-year coach. That doesn't work in year 2 or 3, but it works in year 1. Matt doesn't have that benefit because people say, well, you can't blame it on the players. You were here when they were recruiting all these players. So Matt doesn't have that ability, and so instead he can't do or won't do or can't and won't do what I think the fans want. The fans want some accountability. The fans want to know, why are we this bad on defense? Why are we this bad on defense? Is it coaching? Is it players? What is it? And what they're getting instead is they're getting platitudinal answers. They're getting 1 week, well, our eyes aren't in the right place. This is after a year of we didn't fit right. Didn't get our fits. And fans, after a while, like, what the hell's that mean? I'm tired of hearing about fits. So they go, oh, we're going to talk about eyes. And then we're going to talk about focus. It's about focus. We're not focused. All right, well, maybe you should get focused. And now it's, well, we weren't prepared. We're not fired up enough. Got to get more prepared. Got to get more fired up. And I think, frankly, at the risk of me pissing off a lot of people that I cover, I think that's an insult to fans' intelligence. Now, to tell the truth, you probably have to stand up there and say, look, I didn't hire this defensive coordinator. My predecessor did. I didn't give him a 3-year contract worth $3.3 million. My predecessor did. We're on probation. We've lost bowl revenue for 2 years. It's not monopoly money. We can't just throw it around. I retained him because, quite frankly, I didn't think I was getting this job until I got the job. I've got the job. I retained him. At the end of this season, obviously, if this continues, I'm going to make changes on defense, and that's obvious. But I've got 9 games left. What the hell do you want me to say right now? And I can't throw these kids under the bus. They're our players. Mm-hmm. You're not blind. You can see it. They're not fast enough. They're not big enough. We've got issues. We've got to fix it, and it's going to be a long damn road, boys and girls. That's the answer, and I don't know how well that goes over. That's the truth. Based on message boards, Based on what I said yesterday about, I'm telling you now, 2019 is going to be a bad season. Perhaps a really, really difficult, bottomed-out season. Fans do not want to hear that. They refuse to believe it. They don't want to hear it, and I understand that. I do. It's bottom line. It's true. You and I could go through the 2019 schedule and make a compelling argument for 2-10. I'll be honest. If you told me they won more than 4 games next year, I'm stunned based on what I've seen and the schedule that they have to play. If you told me they went 5-7 next year, my first word would be how? How?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a very, very Pollyanna look at it to be mediocre next year, I guess, however you want to phrase 500. And it's that, like I said yesterday or whatever day this was, it means that those kids on defense that do have some athletic ability all grow up. And you're okay on that side of the ball. You know what I mean? You're a top 50 defense, something like that on the defensive side of the ball. And then offensively, you just kind of figure it out because it's an offense that's losing a lot of the offensive line. It's losing Jordan Ta'amu. It is losing that wealth of wide receivers not named Braylon Sanders. So, just from a roster standpoint, a lot going on between this year and next year.
But do you agree with that? What I'm saying that's what fans say they want the truth from the people that they cheer for. Yet the truth is hard to hear. I use Cub analogies a lot because I cheer for the Cubs. When Theo Epstein said very early on in his tenure at with the Cubs, hey, I mean his exact words, Chase, were, "We're going to suck for a while." It was not sugar-coated. He didn't say, "Hey man, listen, we're we're going to try. Maybe it'll work out." No, we're going to suck for a while.
We're going to suck on purpose,
and we're sucking on purpose. Now, at the college game, you don't suck on purpose, but when you tell people this is going to be a long road, I mean, I thought the one answer Wesley McGriff gave yesterday that was interesting was the obvious, but it was, what'd you tell recruits?
You have an opportunity.
You can see it, can't you? The problem with it was so bad. It was so bad, and I think that's where people are frustrated. It's not that you lose to Alabama 62-7. It's that you lose to Alabama 62-7, and the truth is everyone in that building knew if Alabama had wanted to score 100 points, it could have. 100 points.
It had a 2011 feel, and no one wants to feel like 2011 in the Ole Miss program. Now, look, that one turned around quickly, but there was a lot of reasons why that turned around that you've got to hit on.
Which defense is worse, 2011 Ole Miss or this defense?
The offense in 11 was so bad, too, that I don't know. I mean,
I actually think the defense now is worse than the one in 2011.
Yeah, I think that's probably fair, honestly. I mean, people have a lot of good points. I mean, is there talent on this defense? No, not a ton. Not an SEC upper-tier talent. Mid-tier talent. But
who on this defense, seriously, you just watched Alabama play.
I did.
Who on this defense would crack the 2 deep at Alabama?
Jalen Jones would have if he was healthy.
Yes.
Pre-injury, Benito would have.
Right, but I'm talking about Benito.
No, I know. I'm just talking. Not coming up with much. Tell you the guy who's played really, really well and not gotten the credit. Maybe. I tell you the guy who's gotten a lot of had got the credit for it. Austin Robinson's played really well.
He has played really well.
Austin Robinson's played very, very well. He's been Ole Miss's best defensive lineman so far.
He'd be nothing against Austria, but to tell you how good Alabama is, he'd be third team there.
Yeah. Well, it's nothing but 4- and 5-star players.
Right. So to answer your question,
and really, that's not even like I said, Alabama's not the stick right now. It's how many would start in the middle tier of the SEC is more the question. You know what I mean?
How many would start on Texas A&M's defense?
Well, I mean, and I'll be honest. I'm a bad beat writer if I'm technically a beat writer of this team. I don't know that I even noticed this on Saturday. Ole Miss played that game without Bing Dukes or Dasher on Saturday.
Yeah.
They didn't play at all. So suddenly Dasher's the guy at star after not playing against Alabama. Discipline or whatever, I have no idea. But
he's a JUCO transfer.
Yeah.
He's a JUCO transfer in his first year. The exceptions are out there, but for the most part, JUCO transfers in their first year. The first year's a waste.
Given what was expected of him, Coatney has not played well to this point.
No.
He's been okay.
He's all right.
Yeah, he's been fine.
Kadir Shepard's all right.
Yeah. Fans want to see emotion with substance, and they're not getting that right now. And that's a complicated thing for coaches too. I mean, we talk about this every day. We'll talk about this for weeks moving ahead. I mean, it's hard to bash your own players and then go into a locker room. You know what I mean? I mean that's
it's almost impossible.
That's not something you can really do. But the truth kind of is the truth right now. But it's not the only truth. There's a lot of issues here. It's like I said yesterday. It's not an or. It's an and.
It's definitely an and. It's definitely.
The 2012 Ole Miss defense was not overly talented, but they flew around.
They played really hard.
They did.
But if you go back and look at it, they had some impact players.
You just didn't necessarily know it at the time.
Didn't know it at the time. Sinquez Golson was an NFL corner. Cody Pruitt was a very good player. Mike Hilton was a very good player. A very smart player. That was before Denzel Kimdichie had some of the drug issues.
Yeah.
He played his ass off.
He did.
That team had some good players.
Yeah. They had multiple All-Americans on that defense. You just didn't know it at the time.
And it was a first-year coach. It was a first-year staff, and I don't know that Matt ever gets that benefit.
Matt doesn't get to go into that locker room. You know, last year he pulled it off to a degree that he could pull it off to. But he doesn't get to go in that locker room and go, hey, guys, new chapter. And it'd be 100% real. And that was real to a point. I mean, Matt did a pretty good job of kind of wiping away the end of freeze there last year. But it's just different. It really is. It's just different. To his players, he's not a first-year head coach this year. To his players, he's second-year head coach.
And also he's been there forever. He's not part of it. There's no new. Matt doesn't get that benefit. He knew that going in. Now, they like him, and they play hard for him. Last year, there was a whole lot of us against the world. You and I have talked about this a bunch. There was a whole lot of that us against the world. Man, no one believes in us. All we have is each other. We don't even know how long we're all together, right? We don't even know what's going to happen. When we say it's us against the world, y'all, it might literally be those of us in this room, and nobody, even the people who are paid to support us, don't really support us. We don't know. It's not that we can't say that anymore. You got the job. You got a big contract. And so now you tell kids, all we have are these 12 opportunities together. It's really it. And that's not the same thing as it's us against the world. No one believes in us. And last year, a lot of kids were like, hey, man, at the end of this year, who knows what will happen? I don't know who's the coach going to be. I got a get out of jail free card. If I want to use it, let's play hard for each other. And now that's over with. They were able to use that negative as a positive last year. And don't kid yourself and think for just 1 minute that last year in some private meetings, when a kid was frustrated, a coach said, hey, man, play hard. What if you're looking to move on? You're putting these games on film. You know, if you're thinking about transferring to State U, you got to put these games on film. You got to play hard for your teammates. All these other, it's a totally different motivational deal this year.
I've covered, I think this is my 14th season covering at the college level. You've covered a lot more than that. This is a strange deal. This is a unique deal for a team that is going to be 3-1 after Saturday. This is unlike anything I've ever dealt with.
Well, it's because the eye test. It's because
no doubt.
It's because of the optics of what people see.
It's not even the eye test. It's the numbers too. I mean, yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's It's fascinating.
No, the psychology is fascinating. I think it's
because the standard changed. They've been to Access Bowls.
Well,
there's a lot of it.
You're right. You're absolutely right. There's also this debate about Hugh Freeze. We saw it yesterday. I opened 10 Thoughts by saying some of this is on Hugh Freeze. Not all of it, but some of it. And you get two very disparate opinions on that. One with you damn right it is. If anything, it's all his fault. And then you get the other side that goes, he gave me the best night of my Ole Miss football life. Don't you dare insult that guy. Had the administration stood by him, I don't care how many rub and tugs he got. That's what I get. I get those texts. I don't care how many rub and tugs he got. You're like, well, that's not really it, but I get it. No, I'm just being honest.
No, I know.
People go, what do people say? They say, I don't care how many rub and tugs and escorts and massages that he got. If that's what it took for us to field a Sugar Bowl team, then by God, I'll pay for one. I got that text yesterday.
Did you really?
Yes. I'll pay for his rub and tugs. Hire him back. It's like, well, you're kind of missing some of the details, but.
Point understood.
And then when you say to them, as someone else pointed out to me yesterday, who did Hugh Freeze recruit of impact on the defensive side of the football throughout his tenure at Ole Miss? Robert Kimdichie, Mike Hilton. Let me see if I can find it.
Marquise Haynes.
My phone blew up yesterday, man. I said so many times yesterday, I wonder what Chase's phone looks like, because mine's a freaking disaster. I'm looking for this. Here we go.
Breland Speaks, maybe.
Someone says, want to really piss off the Pro Freeze crowd? Show how the 14 defense was assembled, almost entirely nut. Hugh recruited 3 impact defensive players the entire time at Ole Miss. Kimdichie, because of Denzel, Trey Elston, and Marquise Haynes, who couldn't get into UNC. Now, that's underselling it because it doesn't include Mike Hilton. It doesn't include Breland Speaks. But there is a point proven.
You probably could even throw in Kendarius Webster if you wanted to.
And you probably could throw in DeMarcus Gates.
Yeah.
But this is the SEC, Chase. And if I can do on 2 hands over 5 years your impact defensive recruits, you failed on that side of the ball. You failed on that side of the ball. And they absolutely failed on that side of the ball. And they're paying for it now.
Yeah, Matt's paying for it.
The program's paying for it. Matt's paying for it.
Yeah.
Matt is facing a very difficult offseason.
It is creating a first-year environment that is crazy for Matt Luke.
It is, and Matt, if this defensive production continues, and all of the analytics say that it will, if it does at the end of this season, and I do mean within 48 hours of the end of the Egg Bowl, he's got to make multiple staff changes.
Yeah.
And typically first-year coaches aren't having to make multiple staff changes.
Because you only get one of those.
You typically get one shot at that.
Yeah. We'll continue in 1 second. First, State Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting. Understand your market. Leader in condo financing and the float down option, which allows you to lock in the current rate. But if rates go down before you close, you get that lower rate. 662-234-2704 or JLOWE, JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
Podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go back into the Oxford community. OUB is offering 1-year CDs at 1.75% APY, 3-year triple option CDs paying 2.01% APY. With the 3-year term, customers can deposit once during the term, withdraw once during the term, and or bump the rate if OUB's 3-year rate rises. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. Podcast also brought to you by 7 South Tailgating. 7 South celebrating 10 years of business this season. It's not too late. There's still several tailgating opportunities, including one on Saturday. So try 7 South once, and you'll never tailgate without them again. Set up your own personal gear, or you can rent everything from them. No one's going to match their customer service, their attention to detail at 7southtailgating.com. Also brought to you by Megan Phillips with LAH Real Estate. She's the person to call for all your real estate needs in the Birmingham area. With almost a decade of experience, Megan's knowledge and expertise can help you buy or sell your home today. So please visit our website, meganmphillips.com, MEAGANMphillips.com, or call Megan at 205-602-7929. Again, 205-602-7929.
Podcast is brought to you by Locker Stockers. Game coming up on Saturday at Vaughn Hemingway Stadium. Want to take the hassle out of stocking your locker for you. They handle purchase and delivery to that before game day. They offer some different discounts I mentioned in the podcast, and you can sign up for the rest of the season with one phone call, 662-586-1487, or info@lockerstockers.com. As I mentioned a second ago, so this is going to be content on the site at rebelgrove.com, a reason to subscribe later in the week, tomorrow, Thursday, one of those days. But
I gave you some homework.
You did. You said run down defensive stats and in national rankings of those stats from the start of this tenure, meaning Wesley McGriff, Phil Longo, Matt Luke. I guess technically McGriff and Matt. But
from the season opener of 2017 through today.
Now, yes.
Yes.
Those 15, 16 weeks, whatever that is. And I have a lot of them. I mean, as you'll hear, there's tons. This is any defensive stat you could pretty much come up with. But the point being, since that part, this is not about the Alabama game on Saturday. This is not even about the Southern Illinois game 2 weeks ago. This is the standard that's been set defensively by Ole Miss for 15 games now, 3 this year, 12 last year. Here are the national ranks in these categories. Again, much more later in the week in written form, but I will read through this real quick. National ranks for Ole Miss: 123, 108, 125, 119, 90, 105, 67, 123, 93, 77, 96, 105, 100, 78, 90, 116, 118, 126, 125, 119, 107, 125, 107, 130, which is dead last, 102, 110, 117, 116, 63, 129, 114, 105, 115, 118, 123, 115, 124, 99, 115, 124, 105, and 116. A lot of hundreds in there. A lot. Nothing in the top 50.
Nothing in the top 60.
No, 66, 64, 67, something like that.
Nothing in the top half.
Correct, yes. Top half. I mean
you at some point, Chase, there's no debating anything. I mean, there's a question on the board right now, and I'm not making fun of anybody, but it's why does Ole Miss's defensive linemen not get their hands up and bat balls down? Why do they not do this? Why do they not do that? Why do they not do this? Why do they not? Well, they don't have players. That's why. We spent an entire summer. This is on us. I'm going to criticize you and me here. We typically aren't kind of scared to tell the truth. We spent the entire summer talking to people, and they would say to us, well, it can't be worse than last year. And privately, you and me would look at each other and go, yeah, it absolutely can. Breland Speaks is in the NFL. Breland Speaks was good. I watched Breland's. I had a number one, I like Breland. Number two, I like Breland's dad. Okay? Breland's dad's a cool person who was always super nice to us. I like Breland. People say, we like bad news. I hated writing a story about Breland Speaks getting a DUI. Hated it. Because I like Breland. He's funny. He made me laugh. Had a great personality. I think he's a really bright kid, and I'm excited that he's doing well with the Chiefs. But they lost Breland. They lost Marquise Haynes, who was one of those really good guys that we covered. And I watched him for years. I watched him basically decapitate Jalen Hurts that day in Vaughn Hemingway. Marquise Haynes was a difference maker. And we would say to each other, who are they replacing him with? I always thought DeMarcus Gates was underrated. And we had how many years of Taylor Polk debates on this site?
So many.
You wrote that big story on Taylor Polk, and I would say to you, who are they replacing him with?
Dude was never on scholarship.
I know. I would say, who are they replacing him with?
It was never Taylor's fault. Taylor gave every ounce of his being. Frankly, it was on the other dudes that weren't good enough to beat him out.
He'd be a starter right now.
Oh, well, yeah, not even a thought. He started last year.
Yeah. So I would say to you, when in the summer, could absolutely get worse. I'm getting ahead of it on next year's going to be worse. That might be different because they might wise up and throw a lot of talented young players on the field, and it might just be green, but at least it'll be more interesting. This is tough. I mean, there are some games coming up on the schedule that, in my opinion, are not winnable. Those are very hard to go through, those games. It's one thing when it's Alabama, because they're Alabama and they're the best program in the country and it's not close. But some of the other games on the schedule are, in my opinion, mountains that cannot be climbed. Because I don't think this defense is going to give them a chance to stay in the games.
Yeah. I mean,
people talk about beating LSU. No one, not Alabama, not anyone is putting up 40 points on that LSU defense. No one. No one's putting 40 on that defense. And so you got to score against them.
Yeah. Now, I think offensively LSU's a bit of a paper tiger, but
I do too.
Might not matter is the thing.
That's my point.
Yeah.
But they can line up and run the football.
Yeah.
And that's what they'll do. They'll line up and run the football. Burrow's not good, but he's a game manager. He's not making the guy who made the critical mistakes on Saturday was Stidham, not Burrow. I don't know. We'll see.
Burrow's just there to not wreck the car. Don't turn it over. Punt. I don't care.
No, he's the driver's ed driver.
Yeah, just keep that Impala between the lines.
Yeah, get in, buckle up, 10-2.
Avoid sudden change.
Drive 3 or 4 under the speed limit. Put your signal on. Give plenty of distance between you and the car in front of you, and don't wreck. And so far, he hasn't wrecked.
Yeah. By the way, real quick on that Rice thing, it's not like a lottery deal or anything like that. They're just paying that out of their endowment. It's interesting. I'm sure Rice has a hellaciously high endowment, but nonetheless.
I would think. I wonder what you were typing so fiercely on.
Oh, no, I was sending something else.
Okay.
Yeah. That was just a graphic somebody sent to me.
Gotcha.
I worked up Vanderbilt people because the Vanderbilt baseball fans keep arguing they have no advantage, so they get worked up all the time.
Well, they absolutely have an advantage.
They do.
And it's a smart advantage on their part.
They keep arguing, well, our tuition is so high that it still offsets it. And it's like, well, yes, the people that have to pay at Vanderbilt have to pay a lot.
Yeah.
But when you get 20 scholarships, that's more than half your team that doesn't pay anything.
Right.
So,
Arkansas has an advantage.
Huge. Arkansas is the most underrated baseball program in the conference.
It's a brilliant advantage. I've used that word with multiple people. I have learned a lot about it. It's brilliant. It's genius on their part.
It is.
It is. People bitch about it. I'm like, think about it. Take a step back and look at it, and you go, that's pretty smart.
It is out there for the doing, so why not do it? I mean, it's not illegal.
How many baseball players make 26s on the ACT?
A decent number.
Yeah. If you have 26, if you have a 26 on the ACT and you're from a bordering state, 60% of your out-of-state tuition just got waived. And then you get the 30% scholarship on top of that, see?
They've actually lowered the reward. It used to be a lot.
Yeah, it used to be more.
Yeah. It used to be a whole lot more.
If you have a 28, it's like 80%.
Yeah. When I wrote that story a few years ago, it was almost criminally stupid how low it was to get a lot of your out-of-state waived. And they've actually raised that up a little good bit.
They're able to, that makes them more competitive. And if everything's even, talked about this before. If everything's even and you're down to, say, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Arkansas, you like all three programs, all three have great facilities, all three have this, all three have that. You go, this one's cheaper, let's go there.
There's a lot of reasons why this is the case, but it is a main reason why people don't really cover baseball recruiting the way they cover other sports recruiting, is because nothing is apples to apples. Like, you know, you've got certain media members that go, oh, well, State U beat so-and-so for this recruit. Well, you have no idea if they offered that kid 85% versus a walk-on spot. Like, There's so many other variables there that nothing is like football or basketball where it's, okay, A, and you pick one.
Right.
Never. I mean,
right.
There are very few kids that get equivalent offers from multiple schools. It's all about cost and effectiveness.
Of course,
and all that
it comes
stuff.
down to a family sitting down and saying, literally, all right, we liked Fayetteville. We liked Oxford. We liked Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, whatever.
All three were great. Love the facilities at this. Love the coach here. Whatever. But, well, here's the thing. It's going to cost us X thousand here, and here it's going to cost us X thousand.
It's the number one question I ask of baseball programs by parents when they're giving the coaches, they're getting the recruit, is stop. I understand all the numbers and all the percentages. Bottom line, what's my check got to be written for?
Right.
That's it. Because the coaches, I mean, to their credit, again, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors and numbers here, and hey, your second year you get this, your first year you get this. But at the end of the day, at some point, the dad goes, now what's the check got to be?
Yeah, tell me the number.
Yeah, and that's really all that matters.
Give me the balance.
Yeah.
I mean, we joke about Clark Ford and stuff like that, right? I mean, people think we're joking. We're not. What's the bottom line? Yes. Give me a bottom line.
I don't need the algebraic equation.
Give me the bottom line. I'm going to take my bottom line to my calculator, and I'm going to call a financing person, and I'm going to say, what's my monthly payment?
Right.
And then I'm going to compare prices. And so my monthly payment from this place is $600, and my monthly payment from this place is $480. It might not be exactly the car I wanted, but now I have a decision to make. Is this one worth another $120 a month?
Yeah.
And so when it comes down to it, and the kid goes, well, so here's the deal. I'm from Texas, and if I go to Ole Miss, I got to pay all this out-of-state tuition, and if I go to Arkansas, I don't.
Yeah.
That's tough to overcome.
May need a drink at some point as this day moves along. Oxford Wine and Spirits, a good place to take care of that. Next to Lost Pizza on College Hill Road. Neil and I are in there pretty regularly, and prices are 5% lower than industry standards just off the top. Well, you mentioned the podcast. You get another deal on top of that. Spend $150 or more, and 5% off wine, 10% off liquor at Oxford Wine and Spirits. They got Hoodoo Chicory Liqueur. They got all the Cathead products. They got some extra bourbons in this last week or so. So time to head in. Stock up for your weekend or just for your social call, whatever day that may be. Again, Oxford Wine and Spirits next to Lost Pizza on College Hill Road.
We've been telling you about Robert Gambrell and Gambrell and Associates for a while. Robert knows that many of the people listening to this podcast will never need a bankruptcy attorney or a Social Security disability attorney. However, many of you may be interested in reviewing your financial situation to consider asset protection. This is a part of what a good bankruptcy attorney does. Many of you have friends or relatives that get into difficult financial situations. Gambrell and Associates helps many people work through their times of hardship, whether that results in filing a bankruptcy petition or working to avoid a bankruptcy filing. Others are primarily worried about the credit score. For those people, many times they refer their clients to Brian McLaurin, another advertiser on this podcast. Whatever your needs are, you, your relatives, or friends can get a free consultation for 1 hour or more to help make your decision on what is best for you. Search for Robert Gambrell on avvo.com or superlawyers.com or call Robert in Oxford, 662-281-8800. The podcast is also brought to you in part by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. Have you been thinking about that golf trip with the guys that you'll never forget? Or maybe that anniversary trip she'll never forget? Whether you've dreamed of playing St. Andrews or sitting at a cafe in Paris, talk to John Edwards before you try to do it yourself. Why use John? Well, he's part of Virtuoso, a worldwide network of travel partners that allows John to supply his clients with added values and unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. John traveled the globe for 37 years, before getting into the travel business, so he knows the extra attention needed to make a special trip one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. So if you're thinking about going with the boys to Pebble Beach or taking her to Napa for the vacation of her dreams, call John. Give him some parameters and a budget and let him give you some options. And know this, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. Call John at 901-494-3387 or send him an email at jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. And youth registration for the Oxford Park Commission for basketball is going on right now. It started September 4th. It goes through the end of the month. So sign up your son or daughter for one of their leagues. The age range is 5 to 15. The cost is $50. Last year, OPC had 600 kids take part in basketball leagues. Those numbers are expected to be similar this year. So don't miss your opportunity. Sign up for OPC Youth Basketball. The season starts December the 4th. Find out more at oxfordparkcommission.com.
Vanderbilt baseball fans get really, really annoyed when you call out their advantages. I mean, they are getting fired up on Twitter.
And I don't know why. I don't get it. I'd be like, yeah, it's cool.
Strange.
We're winning.
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Not breaking the law.
As much as they annoy me, I actually still kind of like them, too. It's strange. I have sort of this weird affinity for Vanderbilt baseball that I wouldn't typically have. They crack me up a little bit. I kind of laugh at them.
Yeah. I like Nashville so much.
The navy blue jerseys, I'm all in.
I've literally watched them on TV with the volume off or whatever, and I look up and I'm like, wait, that's Vanderbilt? When they wear the Patriot uniform?
Yeah. Well, yeah, Ole Miss wore whatever color, and Vandy wore navy when they played.
Yeah.
Kind of confusing, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Josh Gordon, a New England Patriot.
Saw that.
What do you think?
Oh, he'll end up being a superstar there.
You think so?
I don't know. I'm hoping I have Patriot fatigue. I actually watched an entire first half of an NFL Monday night game last night. I hadn't done that in years. Seattle and Chicago. Carson suddenly wants to go see the Bears. So we're looking at the Bears schedule. Kind of hard. Like, you go to Chicago for... Carson has a thing for the Celtics, too. He really likes the Celtics and kind of has for a couple of years. The Celtics play in Chicago on a Saturday night, and the Bears play the Rams on that Sunday at noon.
Oh, that's good.
That's a good deal. I'm thinking about trying to pull that off. Like a couple weeks before Christmas. I need to look at the schedule because, I think we can do that.
Do you?
Yeah. What's the day of that basketball game? It's the 11th.
Yep.
It's a Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, well, I thought the game's on the 12th. I think.
Yeah, so we're good.
Yeah.
We're good. Okay.
I think the game's on the 12th.
Yeah. I think the football game's the 9th, maybe. I don't know. I got to look at it again.
Anyway, okay. I'm
What
done.
are you laughing at?
I'm done.
Tell me in a minute.
Vanderbilt idiots. I'm fine. Yeah.
The Twitter people that get mad at me are Mississippi State Twitter. They hate me.
See, they leave me alone for the most part. Now, I have a lot of them muted. I don't block. I just mute. Let them think they're talking to me, and I don't ever see it.
I have a lot muted, too.
I like the mute function more than the block function. But
I've actually gone in and unblocked some people.
have you really?
I have.
Ooh. The executioner comes off the...
Well, just because I don't want them to be like you, like the whole blocking thing. That's almost a badge of honor.
Yeah. Because it makes you think they got to you.
Yeah.
So.
And often it's just, I should have just muted them because I'm blocking them just to make them go away.
Yeah. All right. Plenty more coming up at rebelgrove.com, including the content we teased there. I lost it this morning, about halfway finished, so I got to start at least somewhat over, but the snap counts and grades from Alabama, some interesting stuff there. I'll have some takeaways from that up as well on the site at rebelgrove.com. A lot of recruiting content as well, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.